I'm Sarah Lomax Reese. I'm the president and CEO of WURD. I feel like pretty much everybody here is either family or, I work with, or, we have some kind of connection. So I don't really feel like I need to introduce myself. But I want to do a couple of thank yous. But before I do that, I want to just give you an overview of how this program is going to run, because it's basically a three-part event. What's that? So we're gonna like create this together, okay? We're co-creating an experience tonight, and so just to give you kind of the framework of tonight's event, we are going to have this amazing Sankofa Awards reception, which is what you're in right now. And so we're going to have some honorees that we're going to honor. We're going to have a special performance with Toshi Regan and Sonia Sanchez. And we're just going to do, fellowship. So you can eat and drink throughout the evening. We have a signature drink that we're calling the Bev Bubbly, which is a play on my mother and father's names. My father's nickname was Bubby, and the drink is made with like Prosecco, so it's bubbly. So we've got a couple of little touches that we're going to throw into the evening. We're going to start the evening out with a libations ceremony too, because Sankofa means you look back to look forward. And so we want to really acknowledge the people who have come before, who have helped to make WURD, who are now in the ancestral realm. So Eric Grimes, Brother Shamari, well, he said to either use one or the other. Brother Shamari, who is the host of our Friday from 1 to 4 show, the Shamari Show, is going to lead our libations ceremony.
Greetings. Before we get started, we do libation as part of our cultural tradition as a way of uniting and connecting the African circle of life. It brings us who are present in this realm together with those who have gone on before us, and in unity for the beautiful children not yet born, for whose life and elevation we actually live. That is our purpose, to make sure that those who come after us have a foundation for us to build upon. So we do libation as a way of bringing that spirit, that energy present into the location for which we've come together. So I'm going to ask, however you show respect or reverence, you assume that sometimes people stand, whatever the case may be, but whatever your way of showing respect for a moment is, I'm going to ask that you do that as we call out the names of those who have gone before us and made a way for us to be here today. Libation is a ritual. It is an act of remembrance. It is an act of respect. It is an act of reverence. It is, in many days, an act of revolution, for we live in a time where the questioning of black life and value is actually a question. That should not be our way. Unfortunately, it is even a question for many of us. And so we do ritual, we do libation as a way of answering affirmatively that question, that our lives matter, not just those of us who are here right now, but the lives of those who have gone on before us and the lives of those who have not yet come. So we ask again, however you show respect for a moment, that you assume that position, if it be standing or whatever else it may be. We use water because water is the essence of life. And I'm trying to take this microphone off, so thank you, I got it. And so I have a list of names of people who have made significant contribution to WURD and the WURD family over time. And I'm going to ask that as I call their names, we affirm the calling of their names by saying a word, which is Ashe. All right, so after that, and then I'm going to ask also that we create a moment of time and silence for us to honor those who we may also want to honor in our own spirit and in our own way. Of course, Dr. Walter Lomax, Ashe. Calvin Robinson. Doug Robinson. Reggie Bryant. Rotan Lee. Bill Miller Sr. Darrell Gale. Nat Washington. Steve Stevenson, Ashe. Dr. Frank Wyatt, Sister Fatima Ali, Sandra Magruder, Carol Smith, Corey Smith, Melvin Jackson, and Brian Michael Evans, Kearney Anderson. And I'm going to ask again for a moment of silence for whoever is important to you in the ancestral realm who is no longer with us. And I'm going to ask that we just take time and call out their names so we can bring their presence, their power, and their purpose together with us right now. So just feel free to call out names. Ashe. 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 We pour for those warrior pioneers of the word who either through their writing, through their speaking, through their presence on television and in the medium of communication have always upheld and continued and uphold the tradition of African spirit, African power, and black purpose. Ashe. And for the beautiful children not yet born, for whom we pledge our lives, our purpose, and our presence. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe-yo.
Thank you, Eric. That was beautiful, and now I feel grounded. I feel like we're ready to rock and roll. So a few thank yous before I turn it over to Monica Lewis to offer the awards that we're going to present today. The Kimmel Center has really been amazing for us. And before I do that, I'm looking at the brother over here who is going to give us a citation from Kenyatta Johnson. Kenyatta Johnson, start to make your way up here, Councilman Kenyatta Johnson. We got a couple of different things going on, but I do, before I bring Councilman Johnson up here, I do want to really thank the Kimmel Center for being an amazing partner for us to facilitate, to co-create, to just help us bring this event to life. And so I especially want to thank Leslie Tyler, who has been unbelievable in this process. And believe me, it's been a long and windy road. So come up here, Leslie. Oh, so give me these. Okay, I want to give Leslie these, these flowers. So thank you so much. Thank you.
I love you guys. I love you guys.
So, thank you. Leslie's we've been in constant contact for days and days and days. So, I also want to thank a whole bunch of other people, but before I do that, I want to ask Councilman Johnson to come up and offer up this citation. And Councilwoman Janie Blackwell is here too, so both of you come on up. Here you go.
Good evening, everyone. And this is the 15th year celebration. Good evening, everyone. And we're going to celebrate tonight. First and foremost, I want to ask for everyone to give the Lomax family a real big round of applause. Give them a round of applause, please. We sincerely thank you for having the vision and, most importantly, investing in a radio station that will serve as the voice for the African American community. And since I've been involved in community organizing and politics, I have turned to this station to get a full understanding of the direction and the issues that specifically have an impact on my community. So I just want to personally thank the family. And before I present this citation, I'm joined by my colleagues, Councilwoman Janie Blackwell, Councilwoman Blondos Reynolds Brown, and Councilwoman Helen Gilman. I thank them for joining me here today. And the citation reads, honoring and recognizing WURD Radio. The Council of the City of Philadelphia is pleased and proud to honor and recognize the 15th anniversary of WURD Radio and celebrating the station's role as the voice of the African American community. Whereas founded in 2003 by famed physician and philanthropist and South Philadelphia resident, Dr. Walter P. Lomax Jr. The WURD Radio is the only African-American owned and operated talk radio station in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Through its platforms on air, online, and in the community, WURD has worked tirelessly to provide information and solutions that uplift and inspire the soul of Philadelphia. And
whereas the unique way talk format at WURD has encouraged its listeners to become active participants in the most important and pressing debates facing Philadelphia and the nation as a whole, recognized as the pulse of the African American community, WURD has helped to shape the conversation around every major event in the region, from mayoral races to presidential elections, from the street corner to the corner suite. And whereas in recent years, WURD has focused heavily on the expansion of the nation's digital presence through its website, which hosts live streams and podcast recordings of the station's popular programming, as well as featuring blogs from station personalities, news articles covering local and national issues, and coverage of the station's community events. And
community glasses. Whereas, in addition to its on-air programming, WURD has engaged its audiences through informative, thought-provoking public speakers as a part of the Walter P. Lomax Jr. MD Speakers Series. WURD Speaks. Recent events have included conversations about African American participation in academia and a retrospective discussion of W.E.B. Du Bois' seminal study of African American life in Philadelphia. And we all know that to be what? The Philadelphia Negro. And whereas community events sponsored by WURD have also highlighted issues related to health and wellness, financial literacy and empowerment, as well as education for sure. During the recent Summer of Freedom Library Tour, WURD's The Source broadcast from 16 different libraries across the city. Congratulations. Helping to bring attention to the valuable resources that these branches have to offer. And
I'm so glad to be here. Whereas, as the pulse of the Black community in Philadelphia, WURD has established itself as a station where listeners can stay informed on the most pressing issues of the day, regularly hosting elected officials who represent Philadelphia and the Commonwealth, including a monthly broadcast with U.S. Congressman Bob Brady. WURD plays a vital role in discussions around the day's political issues. The station also provides live on-site coverage of Philadelphia City Council's weekly stated meeting. I know that's scintillating. Providing invaluable coverage and thoughtful insight into developments that affect Philadelphia's residents. And whereas WURD's reputation for excellence has ensured that Dr. Lomax's vision will thrive for years to come, under the leadership of the amazing President and CEO, Sarah Lomax-Reese. Let's hear it for Sarah. And with the thoughtful, talented hosts who make up the station's daily lineup, WURD will continue to play a vital role in our city and nation's most important conversations.
Therefore, by virtue of this citation, the Council of the City of Philadelphia does hereby honor and recognize the 15th anniversary of WURD Radio and celebrates the station's role as the voice of the African American community. We commend WURD Radio and all involved for 15 years of loyal and dedicated service and extend the sincere respect and admiration of this legislative body. And on behalf of the members of the City Council, we'd like to officially present this citation to Ms. Sarah Lomax-Reese. Let's give her a real big round of applause.
Let's come out center for a photo. Let's come out. Come over, son. Come in, John.
Thank you so much to the council men and women who showed up. And I didn't know, I just thought Kenyatta was coming. I didn't know everybody else was. So that's really wonderful. So a show of force from City Council. I appreciate that. And obviously, this is not just the Sarah Lomax-Reese show. Doing the station and what we do is completely, totally a team effort. And hopefully you'll have an opportunity to meet the different team members who many are here who work very, very hard to do the work that we do every day. So I just want to quickly read off staff. Big thanks to Monica Lewis, who you'll see in just a second. She's our general manager and director of sales. Mike Thomas, who's always behind the camera. Yashira Rivera, who coordinates all these things. Erica Walker, Valerie Griffin, Troy Wilmore, Khalif A., Kawesa Mathis, Queen Kawesa, a.k.a. Queen Kawesa. Erin Smith, put some respect on her name. Dr. Erin Smith, the rapping professor who is here. Charles Ellison, Reality Check, Keaton Nichols, Martin Pratt, Eric Nixon, Steph Renee, Kayla J., Lisa Desvey, Sandra Ali, Arnita DeShields, Mary Austin, Eric Grimes, who was just here, Araka Rotharandu, Melissa Robbins, Barbara Grant, Cody Anderson, Lloyd Cummings, David Barnes, Reverend Louise Williams Bishop, Joey Temple, Michael Cord, Vicki Leach, Victoria Lomax, no relation, Sheriff Jewel Williams. So there are a lot of people who make this thing run. And so I just want to make sure that all of those people are acknowledged as well. A big thanks to our sponsors. You know, these things don't happen without money. And so, you know, there's an energy to money. You know, you have to really, and so one of my mantras is I want to live with an open heart. And so living with an open heart to me also means having that flow of not just emotion and feeling, but also, you know, there's a flow and energy to money. And so I'm trying to cultivate that openness that also helps us to continue to grow financially, because we can't do this without the support of the corporate community, the philanthropic community, the members, the WURD members. It takes a lot to make this thing go. So a big thanks to our gold sponsors, Independence Blue Cross and the Kimmel Center for Performing Arts. Our silver sponsors, Comcast NBC 10, Telemundo, Pico, big thanks. Our bronze sponsors are Penn Medicine and University of Penn, the Knight Foundation and Jefferson, which is also Philadelphia University, and Thomas Jefferson University. And we're also supported by the Wincode Foundation, Lesset, the Lenfest Institute, New Voices for Reproductive Justice, Wells Fargo, Brown ShopRite, Hers, Dietz & Watson, Canada Dry, and Amoroso's. And we want to acknowledge and thank Keystone First, Aquaba, Temple University, and Uncle Bobby's Books and Cafe. So a big thanks to everyone. I do want to, is Michael Rashid here? Well, he's coming, I think. He is invited. I always, like, in an environment like this, I feel it's really important to acknowledge people who have really stepped out and supported the station. And he was the first, when he was the CEO at AmeriHealth Caritas, he was the first, and still to this day, the only CEO to afford WURD like a six-figure contract. And so I didn't realize how special that was at the time, because I was like, oh, that was kind of easy, but it has not happened again. So I always like to acknowledge him, because, and to AmeriHealth Caritas's credit, they have maintained that. So even though Michael Rashid is no longer there, AmeriHealth Caritas has continued to grow and build the partnership with us. So I just definitely want to just say a thanks to them, and to especially to Michael Rashid. Yeah, so so I want to get ready to turn this over to Monica Lewis to present our awardees, but I just wanted to say a little bit about each one, because there's a personal connection with each one. Ramona Risco Benson is one of our honorees. She is the head of corporate relations at PICO. And I've known Ramona for over 20 years, and she was an event coordinator for me when I had my health magazine called Health Quest back in the 90s. Yes, thank you. Thank you for that little shake. So I've known Ramona through a lot of different iterations, and you always need someone when times are tight in a company that you can pick up the phone and say, hey, can I pick up that check? And Ramona is one of those people that will help me navigate and facilitate those kinds of things. And anybody who's an entrepreneur knows there are those days. And so you need to have those people who you can call, and they will expedite things if you need it. And so I'm really grateful to Ramona for just being so strong and powerful and steadfast and honorable throughout this entire, like, 20-plus years of knowing her. Jeff Brown is one of our other honorees, and one of the things that I am really grateful to Jeff about is that he is a model for family business. You know, his family, we are a family business, they're a family business, and we decided that we were going to figure out ways to collaborate and work closely together. And what Jeff was able to do at a really critical, pivotal point is he helped us to expand to the FM dial. So Jeff Brown was someone that I was able to go to and make my case that this was an important part for the growth of WURD. And he stepped up, not just with financial capital, but intellectual capital. And so I'm very grateful for that. And our third honoree is Carrie Kirkland, who is, I got to get everybody's title right. He is the Deputy Secretary for Diversity, Inclusion, and Small Business Opportunities for the Pennsylvania Department of General Services. He works for the governor. And Carrie was instrumental in allowing us, he is just one of those people who you know means what they say, says what they mean. He's like, he recognizes that WURD is an important part of the Philadelphia and the Pennsylvania landscape. And so he was able to facilitate an important meeting that allowed us to sit before all the secretaries of the state. So Health and Human Services, Education, the lottery, at one meeting. It was unprecedented. And he arranged that so that we could have this opportunity to grow with the state and with our business. So we really are grateful to all three of these amazing honorees. And I'm going to turn it over to Monica. And then we have a surprise honoree that we'll talk about later. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Monica. This is Monica Lewis. She is the rock of WURD. You know, I get to stand out here and primp and preen, but Monica, she gets it done. She gets it. She's at the station really early, stays really late. She is my dog. She's my dog.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Good evening, everyone. This is wonderful. It's wonderful to stand and see everyone out there this afternoon, or this evening, actually. We are here, as you know, to celebrate 15 years of WURD Radio as the voice of the community, and it is just simply amazing because I'm sure that you all have heard that not many make it this far. So this is something to definitely celebrate. So let's do that right now. Okay? So before recognizing our honorees this evening, I want to take a moment on behalf of the entire WURD team to recognize our president and CEO, Sarah, just come on back up here, Sarah Lomax-Reese, for her steadfast commitment to building the WURD brand, to building it to WURD greatness. Just join me in extending her a round of applause for her continued work to build a brand that will reach beyond anyone's imagination. Because this work ain't easy, y'all. This ain't easy, but it's good, okay? It's good, so thank you.
By the end of this night, y'all are going to get sick of me, so I was trying to
Thank you, thank you, thank you. The greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassionate action of its members. These words, spoken by Coretta Scott King, was a heartfelt reminder for me that it takes a village to build this community called WURD. And it takes a village to build our social communities as well. While we have a dedicated staff of committed individuals, who Sarah recognized earlier, who work each and every day to build our media platforms, there are others who extend beyond our immediate team, who provide substantial support in several ways to grow this brand, and Sarah mentioned our honorees earlier. This evening, our honorees are acknowledged through the lens of photographic art. Gordon Parks, a photographer and humanitarian with a passion for documenting the African American struggle, once said, "It is the heart, not the eye, that should determine the content of the photograph. What the eye sees is its own. What the heart can perceive is a very different matter." Tonight, we acknowledge 3 leaders in our communities who go above and beyond their titles, their corporate titles, to support WURD Radio. They support from their heart. They understand their role in helping to shape our collective history in evaluating and elevating and empowering our communities toward greatness. Ramona Briscoe Benson is our first honoree. As Director of Corporate Relations for PICO, who oversees a multi-million-dollar community budget, Ramona continues to support many community-oriented events throughout our region, not only those for WURD, but she has her hand in a lot of events that you probably attend. She has never wavered from her sincerity in understanding our vision, as Sarah already stated. And did you know she can sing, y'all? She can sing. I mean, like appearing at places that sing, like at South Restaurant and all of that. So just look for her when you go out, because Ramona might be on the stage singing. And I wish she were here tonight so that she can serenade us. However, she had a prior commitment, and she has sent her dear friend, Wanda Paul, to accept this award that we thought would represent her powerful contributions through song. Wanda, are you here this evening? Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, Wanda. Didn't see you. Thank you so much. Eric, if you can bring over the image of Billie Holiday. And Billie Holiday had a seminal influence on jazz music and pop singing, as many of us know, reminding us of Ramona's seminal influence with her work at Pico. And her acknowledgement on the back, each one of these has an acknowledgement on the back of the image, or on the back of the framing, and Ramona's reads, "For your steadfast, sincere, and solid support over 20 years, first working with Sarah as an events coordinator during her Health Quest magazine days in the 90s to now, helping us navigate the corporate landscape at Pico. You quietly and efficiently get things done with grace, honor, and dignity, and we thank you." Followed by a quote from Queen Aretha, given the fact that Ramona is a songstress herself. "Being the queen is not all about singing, and being a diva is not all about singing. It has much to do with your service to people and your social contributions to your community and your civic contributions as well." So let's give Ramona a round of applause, and I will turn it over to Wanda, who will say a few words on her behalf.
She is going to love that. Ramona has asked me to read a brief comment she's made to you tonight. And it goes, "I want to thank Sarah and WURD for this honor, along with my dear friend Wanda Paul for accepting on my behalf. It is only the celebration of my wedding anniversary that keeps me from being here tonight. This acknowledgement means so much to me because of my long-standing close relationship with Sarah, Claire, and the Lomax family. Sarah and I have known each other since the late 90s, beginning with her time as publisher of Health Quest magazine. I was fortunate to work with her and watch the development of opportunities unfold. The focus she has placed on the growth of WURD as a media vehicle and leader of thought-provoking programs has been remarkable. WURD has become positioned as an important influence in the Philadelphia region. I know that I stand on the shoulders of giants, such as Madam C.J. Walker, Ella Baker, Sarah Vaughn, and my mother, Mary Gripper, grandmother, Mary Gripper. And many of us here today stand on the shoulders of Dr. Walter Lomax. Dr. Lomax is someone I've watched and admired as he led the Lomax companies with successful business ventures over the years. He and Mrs. Lomax have been nationally recognized for their generosity as noted donors and activist philanthropists. While I was at the African American Museum, it was the Lomax family that stepped up and provided both a personal and foundation gift that ensured the success of our engagement campaign. Their contributions became the most significant personal gift in the museum's history. I've always felt Dr. Lomax set the example for many of us. That example is realized this day through his children. And Sarah is a great part of his legacy, as she has steered WURD to new heights, crafting its place as a respected media communications company and voice for the community he loves so much. And so I celebrate you, Sarah, WURD, and the entire Lomax family. An African proverb says, "A family tie is like a tree. It can bend, but it cannot break." Our community is better for having you in it. Continue to grow and break the mold for what a radio talk station can become. Onward and upward. Happy 15th anniversary. Ramona.
Wanda, that was beautiful. Our next honoree is Carrie Kirkland. As Sarah mentioned earlier, Carrie has been very instrumental in helping us to grow our revenue model at the station, which, as you know, we don't move without revenue. Carrie spearheads the administration's efforts to improve the state's contracting environment for small businesses. Carrie is here tonight with his wife, Juanita, who I want to recognize. They came down from Harrisburg, or York, actually. I call Carrie a true quiet storm. When Carrie shows up, he shows out. Not in this loud, boisterous way, but in his spirit exudes, in the words of Harriet Tubman, strength, patience, and passion to reach for the stars and change the world. Carrie will lay down the law in a very nice, low-key kind of tone, leaving you feeling like, you know how you felt when you left the principal's office? Like, oh my gosh, back in the day, now I know we have to reach way back for that one, but you know, like after Carrie lays it down, but he has certainly been instrumental in helping us. And Carrie, please come to accept this token of our appreciation, an image of Miles Davis, who, as you know, Miles Davis remained at the forefront of many major stylistic developments similar to Carrie's partnership with WURD Radio. Thank you so much. And Carrie's acknowledgement on the back reads, for recognizing WURD's unique role as the only African-American-owned talk radio station in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We appreciate your commitment to economic empowerment and for taking unprecedented action to make sure that we, at the state level, are seen and heard. We thank you for your willingness to advocate, coordinate, and execute to make sure we have a seat at the table. So thank you very much. Do you want to say something?
Just very, very briefly, I just want to take the opportunity to thank Sarah and Monica, Cody, and the rest of the employees at WURD Radio. I live in York, Pennsylvania, and everybody knows from central Pennsylvania, you have Philadelphia, you have Pittsburgh, and you have Mississippi in the middle. And I can tell you, a lot of times, I think people may take WURD for granted here in Philadelphia. As someone who grew up his entire life without ever hearing black radio or black talk radio, I can tell you it makes a tremendous difference, just in the quality of life of the African-American community. What you guys done here is incredible. The least I can do is support you as the only African-American radio station, owned radio station in the Commonwealth. Thank you so much. Continued success.
I think they want a photo. I'm squeezing in. Photo ops, y'all. You know we have to do that. Our next honoree, as Sarah mentioned, is Jeff Brown, who has been steadfast in his commitment to WURD Radio. Jeff will receive a piece of art featuring Ella Fitzgerald. For your serious commitment to authentic community empowerment and engagement, we honor you, Jeff Brown. As soon as he makes it up, Sarah, you're taking a photo out with our honoree. I'll wait. You do this by where and how you choose business in the community. We honor you for all that you do to create jobs and food deserts and model how to build a successful family-owned business. On our 15th anniversary, we want to especially honor you for your role in helping WURD expand to the FM dial, which was big, y'all, with your financial and intellectual support. Thank you so much. Oh, wait, I want to read the quote from on the bottom of Jeff's image as well. Change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. Spoken by President Barack Obama.
Good evening. First thought that comes to mind is, you know, I like the arts, and the Kimmel Center is very nice, but I never seen it hip like this, never. And this is really hip, and only the WURD team could figure out how to make this really hip. The second thought that comes to mind, as you might have figured, my family has been dedicated to correcting what we saw as injustice for 4 generations. And, you know, not everyone likes that idea, but we don't really care. And we've been working on it piece by piece. And what I noticed is that if you have injustice that doesn't have a voice, and you don't have a platform to communicate with the world of what you're experiencing, what we're all laying witness to, then very few people know. And to me, WURD is a very critical voice, because people don't read newspapers like they used to. They like TV and they like radio. And so to me, WURD's important. It's important not just to get my message about what I want to communicate about our supermarket business, but it's important because helping WURD helps my customers, the communities I serve, my very dear friends have a voice. And going to FM, to me, would make that voice more permanent. And I thought it was very important. And so we dedicated ourselves to that, and we dragged some of my vendors along, because they got to pay, whether they like it or not. And if we were going to, thank you. They liked it. They just needed to learn to like it. The only other thought is I've had the great privilege of working with Sarah Lomax and the whole Lomax family. And they're generation-wise, the Lomax kids, a little older than my kids. And so I'm thinking about my 4 sons. And by the way, my wife Sandy's here with me today. And the first of our 5th generation in the grocery business, my son Josh in the back. And so interestingly enough, I look to the Lomax family, how they work together to make good things happen, as an example of things I might think about for my own 5th generation. And that's really put an imprint on me, because they all get along. Well, at least in front of me they do. And they all work together for the good of the community, and I really admire that. And I was a big admirer and fan of Dr. Lomax. And during his life, we talked about maybe the Browns and the Lomaxes should do more things together, because we have similar goals. And God bless him, the idea that we had has started to develop, and that's exciting. Anyway, you can count on the Browns. We're always going to be here. I got my 5th generation ready to go. We love you. We're here for you. And bad things will happen, but we're going to be shoulder to shoulder with you to fight. Thank you. You want to take a picture?
No, we're going to do it right there, only because we're running out of time. So, thank you so much, Wanda Paul, on behalf of Ramona Risco Benson, Carrie Kirkland, and Mr. Jeff Brown. We will now move on to the next portion of this exciting evening. So thank you all for allowing us to take this time. Thank you. Turning it back over to Sarah, our fearless leader. All right. Let's get another round of applause for our honorees. So now is a very special moment. We actually have a 4th honoree, and she doesn't know that she's one of our honorees, but she has been the backbone and the spirit and the soul and the foundation
of WURD for these 15 years. She has been unwavering, I mean unwavering, in her support. Many people know of my father's philanthropy and commitment to the community, but they don't necessarily know that my mother, Beverly Lomax, was with him shoulder to shoulder to shoulder to make everything that has happened happen. And she has been a rock for me. She is my biggest fan and my critic too. But there's nothing like a mother's love and a mother's support. And so we have created something special for you tonight, Beverly. It's not just the drink, the Bev and Bubbly. That's just a little cute thing that we decided to do. But we have an amazing performance. Can you come up here, Mom? Can Hakeem Madaboudi come to the stage, please? Hakeem? So this performance, this Toshi Regan and Sonia Sanchez performance is for my mother, okay? So my mother is an artist extraordinaire. So these are for you. So Mr. Richardson made all the flowers, and he would be heartbroken if we used anyone else, but these are for you, courtesy of him. But there was a quote that I saw that really spoke to who my mother is, and it was a quote from Mahatma Gandhi that says, "In a gentle way, you can shake the world." Something like that. It's in the program book. It's something like that. But it's I know gentle is in it and shake is in it, but it's something like that. In a gentle way, you can shake the world. And that's the way I feel my mother operates. She is quiet, but forceful. She is strong, but, well, I don't know how flexible you are sometimes. Sometimes you are. But my mother is an artist extraordinaire. I wrote some things. She has shown her artistic expression through sewing, calligraphy, gardening. She's an amazing cook and entertainer. She worked with our school projects, and she made me the writer that I am, for better or for worse, because she made me do these, redo my English papers. She introduced me to yoga and meditation, because she needed some time with 6 kids, big time. She's always been a spiritual seeker and created that and gave us that platform for us. She is fiercely loyal, deeply grounded, a woman of few words, but those few that come are from the soul. She is a wise woman, a teacher, a wife, a sister, and a friend, and she has been a model of how to be fiercely independent and individual amidst fierce patriarchy. How to be your own person, use your own mind, she would say, and she did, and she does. So, for being a fiercely loyal and devoted, unequivocal, unwavering supporter of WURD and me for the past 15 years, we salute you. Well, really, the past, I'm not going to say how many years of my life. Thank you, Bevy. So, and we have an original piece of art that was created by an African-American student at the Pennsylvania Academy for the Fine Arts as her award. And so this is a piece of art by Eustace Mamba Francis is the name of the artist, and it's called Rebel Child. And so, that is an original piece of art by an African-American student at the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts. So that's for my mother, Rebel Child. And so I'm going to turn it over to Hakeem Madaboudi, and then we're going to get into our performance with Sonia Sanchez and Toshi Regan.
You should stay up here with me, Bevan. Right. Good evening, everybody. I bring you greetings from Chicago. I'd like for my wife, Safisha Madaboudi, to stand, and our children, Laini and Mari, please stand. We've come from Chicago for two reasons. The first reason is to say thank you for being who you are and being the partner to Walter Lomax. As some of you may know, we run Third World Press and Third World Press Foundation, the premier independent black book publishing company in the world. And 0809 hit us like a time bomb. It almost drove us out of business. And during that same period, some Negroes broke into our headquarters. And, took all the electronics and everything on the first floor. We got a three-story headquarters. And I called Walter and Beverly that morning and said, well, I don't know if we're going to be able to make it this time because it is pretty hard. We have 3 schools, and we got the publishing company and so forth. And Walter turned over to Beverly, and they were still in bed, and said, what should we do? And Beverly said, well, whatever we need to do. And the next morning, we received a check in the mail that allowed us to celebrate 50 years last year. And Mr. and Mrs. Reese came to Chicago because we dedicated our 50 years to Walter Lomax. And now I'm here along with my wife and children to say thank you because she did a quilt for our granddaughter, right? Was a granddaughter line, Asafisha? We got several now, that's right. And so in the quiet light, Beverly is a person who has been touched not only by her husband, but by this community. She has a special brilliance. Beverly, a woman equal to her husband in so many ways, has her inner workings that she has shared with this community through WURD and other individual developments. Her passion while nurturing a family of children, each who grew into glorious adults and excelled, loved and birthed grandchildren. Beverly Lomax, with her own unique, studied, and quilted mind, artistically created a home of peace and presence. She never forgot the difficult past of her people. Beverly, a Masonic and understated partner with knowledge of the unsaid and the clearly unseen. That's her spiritual side, clearly unseen, whose mathematical mind always thinks subsurface, whose smile brings laughter. She is always and always staying the course of we can do this. She brings critical warmth, absolute commitment, wrapped in spiritual common sense, enlightenment, and intellect. And so we have come from Chicago, representing Third World Press Foundation, our schools, the Betty Shabazz Academy, the Barbara Ann Sizemore Academy, and New Concept School, where we service over 700 children a day in an African-centered education, to say thank you for helping us stay alive. Thank you very much, Steve.
Oh, thank you.